From early on, many of you felt that something in this world did not resonate. Not because the world was wrong, but because your inner structure responded differently to it. The emotional noise felt excessive. The pace felt rushed. The environments felt heavy, even when nothing appeared wrong on the surface. You learned to read spaces before words, to sense emotional tension instantly, to feel when something was misaligned without being able to explain why. Many of you were told you were too sensitive, too quiet, too intense, too inward, but sensitivity was never the problem. At this point, we speak. We are the Pleiadians. Our function is not to label humans, nor to create spiritual identities, nor to divide humanity into categories of light. Our function is recognition. We speak because a new light generation is no longer emerging. It is already active. When we speak of the crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation, we are not speaking only of children. We are speaking of a state of consciousness, a way the nervous system is organized, a way the heart processes reality, a way perception registers coherence or the lack of it. This generation is not defined by age, but by emotional refinement, inner coherence, and heightened sensitivity to misalignment. You carry light not as belief, not as spirituality, not as something you decided to become. You carry it as structure, as a system that reacts when truth is fragmented, as a heart that cannot sustain emotional incoherence, as a body that signals when something is out of alignment, even if the mind tries to normalize it. Our function is to help you stop resisting your own design, because when sensitivity is resisted, it becomes exhaustion. When perception is suppressed, it becomes anxiety. When coherence is ignored, it becomes withdrawal. This message exists so recognition can replace confusion, so you can understand that what felt like fragility was always a different calibration. In the next part, we will explain why this generation often struggled early in life, why this struggle was necessary, and how it shaped the inner structure you carry today. Before we continue, we ask you to write something in the comments, not to share a story, not to explain your life, and not to convince anyone of who you are. Write only this sentence: I recognize this within myself. This is not symbolic. It is functional. Writing anchors recognition into the body. Many of you have spent years feeling this truth, without ever allowing it to become conscious acknowledgement. When recognition stays only internal, the nervous system continues to question itself. When recognition is externalized, even in one simple sentence, the system stabilizes. We ask for this comment because this message is not informational. It is orientational. The crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation spent much of life doubting their perception. You were taught to override sensitivity, to rationalize discomfort, to normalize emotional incoherence. Writing this sentence is not about visibility. It is about alignment. It tells your system, I stop questioning what I feel. I stop minimizing my perception. I stop waiting for permission to recognize myself. This comment also creates a quiet field of coherence, not a community of belief, but a shared recognition space. Those who recognize themselves will understand. Those who do not are not meant to yet. There is no urgency, no pressure, no hierarchy, only acknowledgement. In the next part, we will explain why early struggle was part of the calibration of this generation, and how what once felt like fragility was shaping the strength you now carry. For the crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation, difficulty did not begin because something was wrong. It began because your inner structure entered environments that could not mirror it. From early life, Many of you were placed inside systems built on suppression, speed, and emotional inconsistency. Homes where emotions were not named. Schools where sensitivity was misunderstood. Cultures that rewarded adaptation more than coherence. Your system did not fail in these environments. It reacted. What you experienced as anxiety was often overstimulation. What you experienced as withdrawal was often self-regulation. What others called weakness was frequently the body protecting coherence. This generation learned very early that truth was not always safe to express. So you learned to scan before speaking, to feel before acting, to adjust yourself to the emotional field around you. Not because you lacked strength, but because your system prioritized harmony over dominance. Many of you internalized the idea that something about you was too much or not enough, too sensitive, too slow, too deep, too idealistic. In reality, your system was operating ahead of its environment. You were calibrated for emotional clarity in a world still functioning through fragmentation. This is why many of you matured inwardly very early, yet felt delayed externally. Why you carried emotional responsibility young, yet questioned your place in the world for so long. The early struggle was not a punishment. It was a refinement process, a trained discernment. It strengthened perception. It taught you to distinguish truth from performance. And although this period often felt lonely, it built an inner stability that cannot be taught later. In the next part, we will explain how this refinement shaped your current role and why the traits that once isolated you are becoming essential now. What once isolated you is now becoming necessary. The world is entering a phase where speed without coherence is collapsing, where information without emotional truth creates confusion, where intensity without regulation leads to exhaustion. This is where the crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation naturally stabilizes the field, not by teaching, not by convincing, and not by correcting others, but by how you exist. Your presence slows fragmentation. Your sensitivity detects incoherence before it spreads. Your nervous system senses when something is off, long before systems fail. You were not shaped to dominate environments. You were shaped to regulate them. This is why many of you feel uncomfortable with noise, aggression, or emotional manipulation. Your system is not designed to compete within distortion. It is designed to neutralize it. This generation does not bring light through intensity. It brings light through coherence, through calm clarity, through emotional honesty, through the quiet refusal to participate in what feels false. Many of you still underestimate this role because it does not look dramatic. There is no costume, no identity to perform, no title to claim. Your influence happens subtly through presence, tone, timing, and restraint. At this stage, we ask you to write again in the comments, not to explain yourself, not to share experiences, and not to seek validation. Write this sentence: I allow my presence to be enough. This sentence is not affirmation. It is permission. Many of you were conditioned to believe you must do more to justify your sensitivity, that you must transform it into productivity, service, or explanation. Writing this sentence tells your system something different. I stop forcing my nature into performance. I stop apologizing for my pace. I stop translating my coherence into noise. This is important because the role you carry does not activate through effort. It activates through allowance. As long as you try to prove your value, your system remains tense. When you allow your presence to be enough, your coherence becomes stable, and stability is what the current world lacks most. In the next part, we will explain how this generation is protected, why many of you feel guided away from certain paths, people, or environments, and how protection works without control or interference. Protection for the crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation does not arrive as intervention. It arrives as redirection. Many of you noticed this pattern early in life, even if you could not explain it. Doors that closed without warning. Relationships that dissolved despite effort. Paths that looked right on the surface, yet drained you the moment you tried to step fully into them. At the time, this often felt confusing. You questioned your intuition. You wondered if you were avoiding growth. You asked yourself whether something was wrong with your commitment or resilience. But protection for this generation is not designed to test endurance. It is designed to preserve coherence. Your system is not meant to harden through prolonged exposure to distortion. It is meant to remain sensitive while stable. Because of this, your guidance activates before damage occurs. Not through fear, not through dramatic warning, but through subtle withdrawal of energy. Motivation fades. Clarity blurs. The body resists forward movement. You may feel tired without being physically exhausted. Detached without being depressed, uninterested without being apathetic. This is not collapse. It is early containment. Many of you learned to override these signals in the past. You stayed in environments that demanded emotional performance. You remained in relationships where truth required constant translation. You pushed yourself into roles that required fragmentation to function. Each time, the result was the same. Your sensitivity became strained. Your nervous system lost rhythm. Your inner clarity dimmed. When this happened repeatedly, protection intensified. The redirection became more visible. Sudden endings, forced pauses, circumstances that remove choice, not as punishment, as correction. Protection for this generation often appears as removal. You are guided away not because you are incapable of facing darkness, but because your role is not to adapt to it. You are not here to normalize incoherence. You are here to interrupt it by not participating. Your coherence must remain intact for this role to function. This is why chaos eventually repels you, why manipulation becomes physically uncomfortable, why environments built on pressure or emotional distortion feel unsustainable. Protection is not control. It is alignment preservation. And the more you learn to trust the early signals, the less force redirection requires. When resistance is honored early, it remains gentle. When resistance is ignored, it becomes unavoidable. In the next and final part, we will explain how this protected sensitivity stabilizes the future and what becomes possible when coherence, presence, and trust work together. The future does not stabilize through force. It stabilizes through coherence. What the crystal, rainbow, and diamond generation brings is not intensity, not urgency, and not ideology. It brings regulation, a way of being that allows truth to settle, a presence that slows fragmentation, a nervous system that holds clarity without needing control. This is why your role rarely looks dramatic. You are not here to lead movements. You are not here to convince others. And you are not here to carry the emotional weight of the world. You stabilize simply by remaining aligned, by refusing to fragment yourself to fit distorted systems, by choosing environments that allow your sensitivity to stay intact, by honoring the signals your body sends before your mind tries to override them. When coherence is present, others recalibrate naturally, not because you teach, but because coherence is contagious. This is how the future becomes livable again, not through louder voices, but through regulated presence. Before we close, we ask you to write one final sentence in the comments. Write only this: I trust my sensitivity to guide me. This sentence is not a belief. It is an agreement with your own structure. Many of you learned to doubt what your body knew early, to override discomfort, to rationalize misalignment. Writing this sentence marks a shift. I stop arguing with my signals. I stop explaining my limits. I allow coherence to lead. This is not a promise to do more. It is permission to do less with more precision. You are not late. You are not broken. And you are not here by accident. You are part of a generation designed to stabilize transition. Quietly, steadily, and without force. We are the Pleiadians, and we will continue to speak where recognition is ready.